Divedi, I also want your opinion on the verdict, sir. Now, 5 have been given bail. And the apex court, the Honorable Court has said that this should not be considered as the dilution of allegations in this particular matter, and that Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam have been named as the main conspirators.
Yes, Madam, as I said, Supreme Court is the apex court, and what it says becomes a law. And I'd just like, so there's no question of giving any opinion on what the Honorable Court has said, but I'd just like to highlight here that you see the democratic status of India, that every person has a right to approach the highest court, and the highest court is not affected by any considerations which are away from the main evidence and law in the matter, and which shows that 5 people have been given bail, which shows the fairness of our courts, the openness of our courts, the secular nature of our courts, and it should be lauded. And I'm very happy that this kind of a judgment has been given, which is a balanced judgment as from the information we have till now, and identifying the core people who instigated the whole thing and denying them bail also shows how national interest, national security should be kept highest. And mind you, 53 people died. After all, they also have some kind of a human right. It's not just a human right of somebody who's an accused and incarcerated. So the judgment is a very good judgment, in my opinion. And you can't give any opinion on what the Honorable Supreme Court says, but it's a good judgment in the sense that now there's very clear directions for the lower courts, for the High Court, to adjudicate on such matters.
Right. Mr. Chadda, what kind of precedents, according to you, will now be set for the lower courts as far as the UAPA cases are concerned, and also to the citizen of this country as far as raising dissent, doing the protest, coming out on streets are concerned?
Well, 2 things. One, we must understand this, that the order passed by the Supreme Court, the apex court, are the law of the land. Today, this is the law of the land, number 1. Number 2, as far as the relationship between protest and to what extent you can protest, to what extent you can speak, there is a fundamental right which is paramount, which is the most important fundamental right, Article 19(1)(a), which is freedom of speech and expression. This is one of the top-notch right. If we go through the democracy, we are the biggest democracy of this country, is this world. So where Article 19(1)(a) is paramount, no doubt about it. But there are reasonable restrictions also. So national security is one of the reasonable restrictions imposed by the constitution makers. It is not an absolute right. We must understand this. It is not an absolute right. So these kind of restrictions are there. Now, this is the law. Law says that you cannot go beyond certain limit in expressing your interest, in expressing your views. Like today, we two are sitting in this television debate. I have restriction. I can't use derogatory language against anybody. Against you, I can't. So these are the restrictions, and these are the fundamental of a society also. But coming to the criminal part, which is the question today before us. So Article 19(1)(a) guarantees the freedom of speech and expression with restrictions, reasonable restrictions. These restrictions are reasonable restrictions. These are not that you go and do whatever you want to do. So one, before protesting, now the message to the masses, message to everyone, to me, to you, to all our viewers is, when you are speaking, please see whatever you are speaking is within the ambit of law. You can't talk something which is anti-national. Talk in the sense anti-national. Constructive criticism is absolutely welcome, I'm telling you. If the media where you are sitting, you are one of the pillars of this democracy, I must say. So if you will not criticize the government, the government, the current setup is not criticized by media, it is not good for democracy. So constructive criticism that this should have been done instead of this is welcome. But saying that you will part away chop the country, is this constructive criticism? Not covered within the limit of reasonable restrictions as stated in the constitution. You can't talk like that, that we will chop off the part of the country, Assam will be taken away, CIA law is not correct, all those things. Yes, you can criticize CA, you can criticize any law, you can criticize any policy of the government, but you can't talk something beyond, like you cannot टुकड़े टुकड़े नहीं कर सकते.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another statement, another slogan, which was also about the judicial killing with regards to the Afzal Guru, the decision that the apex court took then, and calling it a judicial killing and also doing the contempt of court. Sabyasachi has been patiently waiting. Sabyasachi, we are getting continuous updates coming in straight from the courtroom. It's trickling in and we are flashing it for the betterment of our viewers as well. For those who have just joined us, please walk us through, the nitty-gritties, the big details, the big updates coming in as far as this case is concerned.
Sakshi, the Supreme Court, the Apex Court, has directed that the trial court should ensure that the examination of protected witnesses and proceeds without delay, and that the trial is not unnecessarily prolonged. Now, the court has found that based on the prosecution's material, the charges against Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam are prima facie established and they stand on a different footing from the other accused, and the statutory restrictions on bail apply to them. At this stage, granting bail was held to be inappropriate. Now, the case was under the special law which was passed by Parliament, which imposed strict conditions on bail, especially in matters affecting national security. And
hold on, Sabyasachi, please hold on. Let's quickly get some live visuals coming in straight from the ground. I'll come back to you.
जल्दी चलना चाहिए, और अगर एक साल में सारे प्रोटेक्टेड विटनेस जो होते हैं, अगर वो उनका एग्जामिनेशन खत्म नहीं हुआ तो एक साल बाद उमर खालिद और शर्जील इमाम बेल के लिए फिर अप्लाई कर सकते हैं.
एक साल से पहले नहीं कर पाएंगे वो?
जी नहीं.
तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने और भी क्या कंडीशंस लगाई हैं जब ये बेल ग्रांट करी है?
उन्होंने कहा है कि 12 कंडीशन अप्लाई करी हैं, बट अभी जजमेंट पूरा बाहर नहीं आया है, तो वो हमारे पास अभी अवेलेबल नहीं है कंडीशंस.
It was a long struggle for rest of the accused, and in fact 5 have been granted bail and 2 of them have been given time, in fact not been granted bail. How do you react to this? What happened in the courthouse, if you could brief us?
So the 5 who have been granted bail, the Supreme Court has said that their culpability, if any, is at a lower level. And for the 2 that have, the Supreme Court has said that we are not commenting on their culpability. But because of the way UAPA is structured, I think them in the fitness of things and judging the Constitution as well as the UAPA together, they have said that 1 more year will to examine all protected secret witnesses.
The line is patchy over there. We'll try to collect some more live visuals straight from the ground. Sabyasachi continues to stay on with me here on the broadcast. Sabyasachi, please continue. You're providing us the key details regards to the case and, of course, the hearing in the apex court. But first up, all right, Sabyasachi, I'll request you to please hold on for a moment again. We are again going to listen into what the advocate has to say about the case.
Custody is dehumanizing at the best of times. And these are all young people. Some were students when they were arrested. Some were going to start a job. And now we hope that they will be able to go on with their lives. So it's a massive relief for them and their families.
So what are the conditions that have been imposed by the court?
We do not know yet. It wasn't read out in open court. The judgment should be made available publicly, I think, in a couple of hours. We will know then.
Okay.
Sir, all right, thank you.
Gulfisha and other accused will come out.
We hope in a couple of days.
Sir, has the prosecution defined any concrete evidence that links Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam to the conspiracy behind the riots?
Again, we have only heard the judgment of the Supreme Court about the conclusions. The reasoning was not read out. Until the judgment comes out in the public domain and is made available to us, we can't comment on that.
So the court has stated that both stand on a qualitatively different footing, Umar
Yes.
Khalid and Sharjeel Imam.
Yes.
How do you see?
That is the conclusion based on the charge sheets and the arguments made in court. And as I said, we do not know the rationale which the Supreme Court has relied on or the facts they have relied upon to reach that conclusion yet.